I now reconvene to the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7 p.m. with Blair, Cruz, Gagne, Schaefer, and not present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. These proceedings are to be recorded and may capture images and sounds of those present at this meeting. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 5:31 to 6:35 regarding conference with legal counsel, existing and anticipated litigation, conference with legal counsel, real property negotiators, a student readmission, a student admission, public employee discipline dismissal release, and conference with labor negotiators, ACT and CSEA. The board voted to accept the resignation agreement and general release between the district and certificated employee 7266. Pursuant to the terms of the agreement, certificated employee 7266 will resign effective June 30th, 2019 by a unanimous vote of 5-0 with Cruz, Gagne, Blair, Schaefer, and Na voting yes. No further action was taken, which requires public disclosure.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Mr. Randall Lewis.
Thank you, President Na. Please rise, place your hand over your heart, and let's salute the flag of the greatest nation on earth. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Now, visiting from Oak Ridge are students who will share with us a little bit about their chosen hero.
Good evening, Board President Na, board members, Superintendent Dr. Enfield, and Cabinet. My name is Christine Hinkle, and I'm the proud principal of Oak Ridge Elementary, where our Bobcats pounce on the future. And right now, I'd like to introduce to you one of our third grade teachers, Miss Selena Martinez, who will present to you what we're doing tonight.
Good evening. Third grade is excited each year to learn about heroes in history. In this unit, our students focus on learning about biographies and how to describe the relationship between a series of historical events and using their research to write an informational essay. So here tonight we have Maya Hassan, Jonathan Singh, Jake Adams, Kylie Evans, and Hunter Ballard. Three of these amazing students are going to present the speeches that they presented in class.
Hello, my name is Julia Child. I was born on August 15, 1912 in Pasadena, California. I am most known for my delicious cooking shows, and cookbooks. My family included my father, John McWilliams, my mother, Julia Caroline Weston, my brother, John, and my sister, Dorothy. When I was a child, I found it hard to learn French, and I barely passed my other classes. As a result, I grew into a content and confident girl. I was also good at softball and basketball. I was accepted into Smith College and graduated from it in history major. I have had 2 jobs. The first one was W&J Furniture Company in New York City, which I quit and went back home to California. I was so happy, but not for long, because my mother became sick with kidney disease and died at the age of 60. The second one was at the OSS. After that, I met Paul Child and got married on September 1st, 1946. I took cooking classes, and I also published a cookbook named Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Mastering the Art of French Cooking. I also had a cooking show named The French Chef. Sadly, I died on August 13th, 2004, of my old age of 91 in Montecito, California. The world has benefited from me because I have taught the people in my time how to cook French food from my cooking shows and cookbooks. Some other facts about me are that I had a lot of enthusiasm, loved to meet new people, loved trying new food, and loved going to parties. Maya chose me because she loved to help her mom cook. She was inspired to learn about me because she wanted to learn my different recipes for cooking.
Before you begin, sweetie, for the parents, I know you're trying to video and all you're getting is the back of their head. So you are free to stand over here and videotape. We can't take this moment away from you, and I apologize, for the parents of our first student. I just didn't want to interrupt her. So I know all you got was the back of her head. I'm sorry.
Hi, the hero in history I studied about was Amelia Earhart. She fought for women's rights and was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She was born on July 24th, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas. When Amelia was 12 years old, she went to the Iowa State Fair and saw her first airplane. But her love of flying came much later in life. Amelia went to high school in Chicago. She attended a private school for girls. At 19 years old, Amelia went to Ogons College in Pennsylvania. Amelia became a nurse's aide in a Toronto hospital. She cared for the wounded during World War I. At 23 years old, Amelia became an airplane pilot. She set lots of records and took lots of risks. Amelia married George Putnam in 1931. In those days, when women married, they would stay at home and not work. But George encouraged her to continue her career of flying. A year later, Amelia became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. On July 2nd, 1937, Amelia's plane was lost over the Pacific Ocean. Still to this day, her plane or her body have not been found. Amelia was a very determined woman and always encouraged others to never give up. Amelia set 3 records for speed and was the first person to fly solo from the U.S. to Hawaii. I chose Amelia Earhart because I was interested in how she became a pilot and what happened to her. I'm so glad I learned her story. She taught me to set a goal and do whatever it takes to achieve it. Thank you.
Hello, and my name is George Washington. I was born on February 22nd, 1732 in West Virginia, Moreland County, Virginia. I was a tall and athletic boy who loved to ride horses. When I was older, I was known as the best horseman in Virginia. I wasn't close to my mother. She was bossy and cold. The person I was closest to was my half-brother, Lawrence. When I was 11, my father died. My father and Lawrence taught me at home. I was great at math, but terrible at spelling. I went to school at the College of William and Mary. My political career. I was first elected member of Virginia's House of Burgesses. We voted on local issues. Then I headed the Second Continental Congress. Later in Philadelphia. Later in 1787, it became clear to me that the government needed more help. The Constitution was being written, and I was elected the first president of the United States of America. I was 57 years old when I became president. I served 2 terms as president from April 30th, 1789 to March 4th, 1797. I was the only president not to live in the White House. I married Martha Custis. We were not able to have children together, but Martha had 2 children from a previous marriage. I was in great health except for my teeth. I had false teeth and did not like to smile. On a cold, rainy day, I died on December 14th, 1799, at Mount Vernon, Virginia. I chose George Washington because he was a soldier while he was the first president of the United States. And when I grow up, I would like to be a soldier like like him. He's an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, thank you, students. I wish I was smart like you guys when I was little. At my age, I can't even remember what happened 5 minutes ago. So, but awesome job. Thank you. Thank you for parents for raising excellent children. Thank you. Next up, this is a great moment. Our basketball team from Chino Hills High School is here. Next up, we have Coach Dennis Lattimore come up to the podium and introduce our Chino Hills basketball team. Podium.
Hello, I'm Coach Lattimore. Just want to thank you guys for letting us be here today, and wanted to introduce our back-to-back Division I state champions. Chino Hills High School. I'll just go down the line from here with our player names. We have our freshman Chukwu Okongwu, a senior Will Pluma, sophomore Marquise Fountain, sophomore Udi Essien, senior Nick Manorhall, senior Anthony Bell, senior Chris Becerra, junior Sebastian Enriquez, senior Onyeka Okongwu, junior Sam Sosa, and sophomore Ernie Caesar. So I'll just be brief. Just want to say thank you once again for allowing us to be here. We're very thankful to be able to represent the Chino Valley School District. I think these athletes right here, they really exemplify what it really means to be a student athlete, working hard in the classroom, being role models on our Chino Hills campus, and then excelling at the sport that they dedicate so much time to. I also want to thank the families, the parents that have supported these guys, that have supported our coaching staff. Coach Don Grant and Mel Sims couldn't be here today, but we're just excited to represent the school, and it's very satisfying to put in the hard work and come out with another championship at the end of the day. I think a lot of the skills that these players learn in the game of basketball is really going to prepare them for life. You know, there's not too many avenues where a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid can be in a pressure situation, can have to be committed to team goals, showing up on time, working hard, maybe biting their tongues at times, being patient, persevering, shooting free throws with seconds left on the clock in front of thousands of people, rooting on their teammates. These are all life skills that I think are really going to prepare them for the game of life, when basketball is done. So, couldn't be more proud of these guys right here. And I just want to say thanks for having us. And, we hope to bring back championships in the near future. But we're going to appreciate this one for now. Not sure if the board has any questions, but if not, yes.
Hello, I'm Onyeka, and I'm going to USC next fall. And major undecided.
Why don't all the seniors just say maybe the plans of where you're thinking about going and pursuing? And if you want to say anything about the season, feel free. Just real quick, by the way, Big O, he's going to SC. He's kind of humble, but he's going on a full 4-year athletic scholarship.
My name is Will Pluma. We had a great season, back-to-back state. Not a lot of teams could do that, So, yeah, but for college, I haven't decided where I'm going to go yet, but I plan to play basketball for the next 4 years of college.
My name is Anthony Bell. I'm a senior. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I plan on pursuing a 4-year degree in chemical engineering.
Anthony's another humble student athlete. He has correct me if I'm wrong, a 4.1 GPA? 4.2.
My name is Chris Becerra, senior. I don't know where I'm going to college yet, and my major is nursing.
I didn't know anybody used it. Worked on my flexibility. Just some. I'm Nick Mannerhall. I'm a senior. I'm not sure where I'm going to go yet, but I'm majoring in something in business. Because, I'm a businessman. That's about it.
That's all the seniors.
We can have the board member come up, and then we'll take pictures with the team. Dr. Enfield, too.
I'll stand by the smallest.
Just put it right here.
No, back in. No, squeeze in. Sit right here. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. So many of you guys. I hope it's good.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
One more player wants to make a statement. Oh, no, the businessman wants to make a statement.
I am doing a shoe drive for our community, and
turn in shoes for the school, and then I'm gonna make it work for the community. Oh, the due date is April 1st, so anytime now until April 1st. Huh?
Where do you bring the shoes?
Up to the school, like in the front office. And there's a little trash can. You just put the shoes. Yeah, Chino inside. And that's it.
You know, we have an awesome sports program throughout our school district, but it could not happen without our excellent coaches staffs. They really dedicate their lives, not only for the sports sake, but bring a whole person. We want to see our children to grow up to be a decent human being, a good neighbor, and truly a servant leader, go serving others. Like our businessman said, it's about others, it's not about us. And so I'd like to thank all of our sport coaches with us in our school district, because they're truly the blessing, and they're the true role models for our athletes. Thank you. And for the final presentation, we'll hear annual update on Goal 1 of LCAP. Dr. Park.
President Na, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and community. We have our 5th update to the board on our Local Control and Accountability Plan, also known as our LCAP. Our annual update to the board this evening will be on the progress of LCAP Goal 1, which ties to state priorities 1, 2, and 7. Here's a highlight of our actions and services to actualize Goal 1, which is for all students to be provided a high-quality teaching and learning environment. HR has attended 4 recruitment fairs this year to hire high-quality credentialed staff, especially in the hard-to-fill areas like math and science. Our departments of elementary and secondary curriculum and instruction have a process for reviewing and purchasing the most up-to-date standards-aligned textbooks. Through our deferred maintenance program, we're able to address routine facility needs. In the area of technology, we have a systematic effort for replacing and updating and procuring technology equipment. Through our universal efforts in the 2nd grade, we've been able to identify more students to participate in our gifted and talented education. With the newer Common Core standards, teachers have benefited from district and site-level PD with the assistance of our instructional coaches. And finally, in order for all of our students to benefit from a high-quality learning environment, they have had access to a broad course of study. In our next segment, we will have Maggie Button, our Director of Technology and Information Services, along with Luke Hackney, our Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, review the 8 annual measurable outcomes in our progress at LCAP Goal 1.
The metrics for Goal 1 are considered local metrics and are reported as met, not met, or not met for 2 years. There are 8 annual measurable outcomes to evaluate our progress of Goal 1. We will be reviewing 4 of the measurable outcomes with you tonight. Credentialed teachers. The SARC report is used to measure our progress in this area. In the 18-19 school year, 100% of teachers had the appropriate credentials for the grade level and core subject area they were assigned to teach. At the time of reporting, we had 3 teacher vacancies, which is the equivalent of 0.0025%. We've met our desired outcome. Facilities is the next area. We use the FIT report, so the facilities inspection tool, to measure that. In 18-19, we're happy to report that 100% of our facilities received a good or higher rating as measured by the facility inspection tool. We've met our desired outcome. Standards aligned materials, we use the Williams report to measure that outcome. In 1819, 100% of our schools reviewed have sufficient textbooks and instructional materials according to Williams site reviews. We've met our desired outcome. The last one is my favorite, technology. Our goal is that all teachers, staff, and students have access to technology that is 4 years or newer. This year, with the LCAP funds that have been allocated for technology, we were able to upgrade, deploy, and replace devices for staff, teachers, and students. In the 18-19 school year, there were over 5,400 Chromebooks deployed to school sites and over 135 ViewSonic interactive displays. Internet upgrades were completed and ClassLink single sign-on was added for students and staff. ClassLink provides the ability for students and staff to access district applications by clicking on a tile, eliminating the need for usernames and passwords each time they log into instructional materials. We've met our desired outcome. Now I'd like to introduce Luke Hackney, Director of Elementary Curriculum, who will review the progress for the remaining measurable outcomes with you.
State Priority 2 is evaluated using the State Reflection Tool. We have met this priority and will provide you with a district self-report on 4 of the 5 criteria on the reflection tool. The progress of number 4, implementation of state standards, will be provided to you at a future board meeting. In the next 4 slides, each of the content areas is evaluated on a scale of 1 through 5, with 1 being exploration and research, through 5 full implementation and sustainability. We are working to get to level 5 in all areas. Also, it's important to note that the state has given flexibility to school districts to define what each level 1 through 5 means. As you can see here, for professional development, we are gauging our progress and providing professional learning opportunities for teachers to the recently adopted academic standards and/or curriculum frameworks. For English language arts, English language development, and mathematics, you will see that we are at a level 4, full implementation. For next generation science standards and history social science, we are at a level 3, initial implementation. This is because the next generation science standards and history social science is very, very new at this time. So as we have more time to provide learning opportunities to our teachers, we will continue to move towards our 4s and 5s. The next area is monitoring our progress and making instructional materials that are aligned to the recently adopted academic standards and/or curriculum frameworks in all classrooms. For English language development and mathematics, we are at a level 4, full implementation. We are firming up a process now to enhance the current instructional materials to better support student learning gaps, and once we have that process firmed up, we will move over to a level 5. We are at a level 3 for English language arts. Last year was the first year of a new implementation at the elementary level of English language arts materials. This year is the first year of new materials at the junior high level, and at the high school level, we are currently in the pilot phase. So next year, all students and teachers at the high school level will have materials in their hands, and we will be able to move over to full implementation. Again, next generation science standards and history social science is very new. So we are in beginning development, and we are working on a plan to get those materials in place. For policy and program support, we are monitoring our progress in implementing policies or programs to support staff in identifying areas where they can improve in delivering instruction that is aligned to the recently adopted academic standards and/or curriculum frameworks. In our district, we have provided a very clear focus and emphasis on professional learning communities this year, where teachers have the opportunities to collaborate, identify what's essential and look at essential standards, refine and review effective instructional strategies, and also look at student outcomes and data to determine their next steps for instructional needs. In addition, we have collaborative learning rounds, which consists of district administration, site administration, and teacher leaders at our school sites, where teams have the opportunities to visit classrooms at school sites and identify trends and patterns and magnify the strengths and build off of those strengths, and also determine next steps for each school site to support the work that's being done by our teachers at all of our school sites. So you will notice in our reflection, we are at a level 4 for English language arts and mathematics. In addition to our professional learning communities, collaborative learning rounds, we also have instructional coaches that have contributed to our successes. They have co-planned and co-taught with our teachers. They have provided model lessons, demonstrations. They have also provided trainings or any other types of learnings that meet the needs of our teachers. They have also attributed to our English language arts and our mathematics reflection. English language development, you will see we are at a level 5, full implementation and sustainability. That is because we have had coaching opportunities for a longer period of time in English language development. Again, next generation science standards and history social science are very new. We are at level 3, initial implementation, but as we have more opportunities to focus on these areas, we will move over to full implementation and beyond. Engagement of school leadership. This monitors our success at engaging in the following activities with teachers and school administrators during the prior school year. The first area is identifying professional learning needs of groups of teachers or staff as a whole. You'll notice we are at a level 5 here, full implementation and sustainability. We have a systematic process in place through our teaching and learning task force to gauge the professional learning needs that is identified by our staff across our district. The task force is comprised of our superintendent, district administration, Brenda Walker, along with additional ACT representation, and other certificated staff who serve in a variety of capacities. The next area is identifying the professional learning needs of individual teachers. And we are at a level 4, full implementation. At the school site level, it has not been the practice of looking at staff professional learning needs as long as we've had the task force in place to identify needs district-wide. And the last area, providing support for teachers on the standards they have not yet mastered. We are at a level 3, initial implementation. At the individual teacher level, we are at the initial implementation as we have begun the process of providing support for standards that teachers have not yet mastered, and this also occurs at the school site level. The next area to address is our gifted and talented education students and program, or more commonly may be known as GATE. In our effort to accurately identify our GATE students, we began universal screening for all second grade students in 2015-2016 school year. Universal screening means that everyone has the opportunity to be assessed with permission. The numbers on this slide illustrate our pre-universal screening data, which was 2014-15, and then our progression, which shows an overall increase. The percentage and the true number are both increasing. The number is important because our goal is to be able to get to 10% of our second grade students identified. And as you can see, we've met this goal. The next area is our broad course of study for elementary and secondary. And again, as you can see, we have met our desired outcome for a broad course of study, which essentially means that all Chino Valley Unified students have access to and take the required courses adopted by our school district. Over and beyond the broad course of study, we also provide music instruction starting at the second grade level, and we supplement district music operations. We currently have 12 elementary music teachers to serve grades 2 through 6 across our district. Over the last 4 years, the music program expanded to include orchestra programs at 6 of our elementary schools. During this school year, 2018-19, we've also been able to enhance our music programs at both the elementary and secondary level in the following ways. At the elementary level across our district, we have been able to purchase baritones, bell kits, drum pads, additional xylophones, violas, assorted sheet music, and additional music stands. At Don Lugo, we have been able to support their program by purchasing microphones, a mixer, a subwoofer, and speakers.
This concludes our annual update to the board. Do you have any questions for us?
Any questions from the board? Okay, Mr. Schaefer.
First of all, thank you for the update. Very thorough, and I'm glad to see we're moving in the right direction. On page 9, the last box, providing support for teachers on the standards they have not yet mastered. Can you give me an idea of what that looks like and who provides that training or that development?
So the last box addresses how principals can reach out and support individual teachers based on the evaluation cycle to address their needs.
Okay, so it's coming from their site administrators.
It can come from the site administrators. It can also come from the instructional coaches. It can also come from district funding.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Cruz.
Yes. You notice that the engine that's driving all this is the collaboration and the PLCs bringing everybody together. That is making the school district moving forward in excellent ways. And what's also nice is that the GATE student, 10% is our target, but we're reaching 15%. And so I foresee in the future that's going to increase as well. And what's so wonderful is that obviously music in the school district is such a paramount. And so this shows the preciousness of music in the school district. So thank you.
And I have a comment. As I was visiting a school last week, teacher was so excited to show off her new screen. It's like smart TV. I haven't seen it before. In old days, it used to be screen or chalkboards that we're studying. But yeah, it's so amazing. So thank you for updating our equipments and getting our teachers excited. And when teachers were excited, also the students were. When students were excited, now we got great parents come here for another school. See, thank you for parental participation. We can laugh, but it's so important because it's about our kids. I mean, we love our pet. I have a dog. I love my dog, but literally, our kids are our future. So as an adult, we must love them and we must support them. And no wonder we have great collaboration from our district office down to the site administrators and all the excellent teachers. That's why it makes our school district great. And parents want to bring children to our school district because we all care. So this time I'd like to really appreciate our staffs, teachers, and parents, you guys, being here at this night to support our education. So thank you. Now, Mrs. Blair.
On page 10, where you're at now, the increase, this 2018, 2019, was it solely because second graders were identified, or was it an increase overall? I think I missed that.
It's all second graders. So every year when students enter second grade, we screen second graders across our district.
But is that what we're attributing the increase to? Or was it just an overall increase?
It was an overall increase.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other comments? Thank you. Okay, now we have comments from our student representative, Alexi.
Hello and good evening, board, cabinet, and community. Last Friday, Ayala High School had their sports rally where they honored their students in spring sports, and the theme was Toy Story. Today, they had their prom fashion show and theme reveal. Their prom is the 20s. Don Lugo High School recently had their Clash of the Conquistadors rally and filmed their lip dub. Lugo had a prom theme reveal and revealed that this year's prom will be an enchanted evening. They had their freshman night, which was a huge success with many incoming freshmen and their families attending. On March 8th, Chino High School's Chomp Academy hosted an annual dance for our special education students, which was a big success. Last Friday, Chino High School had a sports rally and hosted a group of Magnolia Junior High leadership students who watched the rally, took a tour, and learned more about leadership groups on campus. We had our prom expo yesterday, where students modeled styles of prom dresses and tuxes, and the prom theme was revealed, Hollywood. Chino High also held an event where students were able to send kindness grams to other students that were delivered today during fourth period. Chino Hills High School has recently had their ASB elections for the school year of 2019 to 2020. They had their Renaissance Rally to recognize the academic achievements of their students and had a Kindness Week. And last but certainly not least, I hope everyone enjoys their spring break.
Thank you. Excellent report. We're now comments from employee representatives. From ACT, Brenda Walker. No comments. Dennis Hernandez, not here. Okay, we see Yvette Fahali. No comments. Thank you.
Ready for spring break.
Now, then, community liaisons. We have a special guest from Ontario City Council, Deborah Parada.
Good evening, Board President and school board members. It's nice to see you all. I think sometimes we need to share more about what's going on with each other, and so I came tonight to let you know about what's going on in Ontario. And we have what is called a College Promise Program in Ontario for Ontario residents, seniors that are graduating from high school, and if they filled out the FAFSA and they want to go to a JC, the City of Ontario will pay the tuition for 2 years.
Wow.
To any JC of your choice. So please, you can go online to the website and look at see how to apply, and I will leave also to these behind. So if you've got a freshman or a sophomore or a junior coming up the road, the same program will still exist. In fact, Chaffey College just announced a couple months ago that they are also going to do the same thing for the other cities too. So please know that your child has a really opportunity in front of them to get that 2 years of that JC college education. They can take it in a vocational program if they want, and then they can take it for the 2 years and go on to a 4-year program. So please take advantage of this program. We want all of you guys to get educated here, stay here, work here, and be good citizens here. So that's what our whole goal is, to do this. So, and then also too, we have 2 fabulous museums in Ontario. Both the Chaffey Community Art Museum and the Ontario Museum of History and Art. And they are open on Thursday through Sunday from noon to 4 for free. So, and exhibits change every 6 weeks. So there's always something fresh, something new. So please come and take advantage of the museums and see all the great art. In fact, it's almost a little late, but for any budding artists in here, I'm going to leave these behind too. We're having an art exhibit, and we'd like to submit some of your artwork and then be juried. We'd love to have you do that too. So I will leave some of those things behind. So hopefully you guys will come and take advantage of some of those programs. We have a wonderful new library that has tons of great stuff in it. In fact, we have a new, what's called a Lightspeed room now, where we have 3D printers and audiovisual equipment and sewing machines for those entrepreneurs that want to come in and make some of these great things. So please come in and take advantage of that too. The library is open Monday through Sunday, so just check the hours and hopefully take advantage of it there. I will stay for a little bit, so if you guys have any questions or things about the city. What was really cute, but the girl, I think, that left already, the little aviator, so we have a new mascot in the library. Her name is Charlotte, and she is an aviator. So when she had that little hat on, it was cute, because Charlotte wants to be a pilot because of the airport. So we definitely need more pilots. We need more airplane mechanics, desperately. So if those are trades that somebody would like to get into, we really need those bad. And you can do the pilot and the airplane mechanic over at Mount Sac. So if you graduate from high school, fill out that FAFSA, you get a C average, you can use this program and become an airplane mechanic. So hopefully you guys will do that for us. So any questions?
No, I'd just like to thank you. Great news for all of our students. So, such a blessing. Thank you for a great job at City Council. Okay. Okay, next is Mr. Art Bennett, Chino Hills City Council.
Wow, what a nice evening, huh? Thank you very much, Board, for allowing me to be here this evening. I'll make this very short because I know we have a lot of interested parents in the audience tonight and some exciting things that they need to talk about. But what about the two schools in Chino Hills? I mean, Oak Ridge, my boys went there. Fantastic. It is. I think it's so great that our teachers are still teaching the importance of finding historic heroes. And to hear these young kids read their portions of their essays, it's just a real tribute to the teachers and to their parents as well. And of course, the high school, 3 out of 4 years, back-to-back CIF state champions. What can we say? It must be something in the water in this school district, right? Everybody that visits or hears about Chino Hills from other areas of the country just can't get over the excellence, not only in athletics, but when you look at the band results and national competitions and everything, it's really quite fantastic. And it's a tribute to the school board for setting up the curriculum, and of course for the efforts put in by the teachers and by the parents that are here, because these kids only thrive and survive and excel because of your parent involvement. I mean, it's a given fact that the more you get involved, the better the students do. So keep up the good work because you're doing great things. A couple things. As I had mentioned the last time I was here, sadly, a former council member, Bill Kruger, passed away on February 26th. This coming Sunday, there's going to be a celebration of life on his behalf at the Chino Hills Community Center. Janet, his wife, has purchased food for 300 people. So if you ever knew Bill, she encouraged you to come out from noon to about 1:30, and at 1:30 there's going to be a sharing time from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. So anyone that knew him, this man was a consummate professional, consummate volunteer.
Yes.
I mean, he did not want to be in the limelight. He was a COP, Citizens on Patrol. He was involved with the Young Marines. I mean, just many, many things. Taught by a living example of giving something back personally, and that's what we need to do a lot of times. We need to strive to pay something back. So I'm sure that's going to be a very emotional time, especially for those of us that had the pleasure of serving with him. I served with him on the Planning Commission and the City Hall or City Council. So a couple of things coming up real quick. On March events on Saturday, the 30th of March, we're going to have the Chino Hills Community Foundation Concert Series. Lynn Fiddemont, Southern California's R&B and soul standout. She will be performing at 6 o'clock at the community center. Tickets are very reasonable, $10 a piece. All you have to do is bring your chairs and blankets. It's going to be out in that area, hopefully weather permitting, outside the community center. You can get tickets on ChinoHillsCharts.com. Then on the 6th of April, we're going to be giving away mulch. So anybody that's doing that spring planting and trying to get your home spruced up, there will be a 7:30 a.m. while it lasts. This will be at the in the parking lot across from the shops where the raw sushi portion of the shops is. There's a parking lot across the street. That's where the piles will be. And then, not wanting to forget about adults during Easter, there's going to be an adult Easter egg scramble on Friday, April 12th. You must be 18 years of age. Tickets are $16, which seems a little high, except in those eggs there's going to be $2,500 worth of prizes. And if you think kids can scramble for eggs, imagine adults knowing with that kind of thing out there. Then, of course, and the lights, here's the thing. There's going to be lights out during the hunt, so you have to bring your own basket and a flashlight. So, I mean, how many of us adults are in the dark all the time anyhow, right? So it ought to work out. And you can get your tickets for that, chinohills.org/egg scramble. And then for the kids, the Easter egg excitement will be on Saturday, the 20th of April from 10 to 1 o'clock. Kids 12 and under, and that's going to be at the Chino Hills Community Park. And as someone mentioned earlier, next week is going to be spring break. You know, I always say this, be careful. Those kids are going to be thinking about Easter egg hunts and other things other than watching out for cars. So be careful when you're driving anywhere in the city, because the kids are going to be out and they're going to be enjoying their time. And let's make it a festive time and a time to reflect on the reason for the season. And with that, that's the end of my report. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you. Now, Mark Hargrove from City of Chino.
Good evening, Board. Mark Lucio couldn't make it here. He's stuck in traffic, so I told him I'd be here. So just real quick, I want to thank the Board, the district, and staff for March 9th. The City of Chino had their youth track meet at Chino High School. It was a fantastic event, and of course that takes coordination from everybody to make that go off. I don't really know the results of that. I think somebody whispered in my ear that Rhodes had won that, but I don't know if that's true or not. Anyways, just a couple other events that are happening on April 5th. The Chino Youth Museum is going to have their first Friday Arbor Day. I remember when I was a kid, I think we used to go plant the tree. I don't know if that's what they intend to do, but and then also spring break camp is going to be hosted at the Monte Vista Park. There's a small nominal fee for that. All the details, actually go to cityofchino.org and go under events, and they have all the details related to that. And really, that's all I have to report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great to see you all the time. Thank you. Okay. Any other representatives? I see none. We'll move on. We're now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Pat, are there any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
22 requests to speak.
Great. Speakers will be called in order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during the consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations of an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very much interested in your comments, but please bear in mind that the board typically does not respond to comments during this time on the agenda, as it is reserved for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. Additionally, board does its best to support the public's right to address its elected officials. It is also important that the board conduct its business in an orderly and fair fashion, as provided in Board Bylaw 9323. In the event that an unusual amount of speaker cards is submitted for any item, the board will hear up to 30 minutes of its comments. In the case of non-agenda items, the board can, if it chooses, hear the remainder of the comments after all business has been conducted. Mr. Cruz, will you please explain the light?
Speakers, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Begin comments at the green light. Yellow means you have 30 seconds left. Red means stop. Please adjust the microphone as necessary. Audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium. Thank you.
Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, bylaws of the board meeting conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks, and please limit remarks to new points. The board would like to remind you that Board Policy 1312.1 contains the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. Please follow that procedure. The first speaker is Caitlin Mullet, followed by Stephen Huff, followed by Dawn. Caitlin Mullet.
My name is Caitlin Mollett. I am a proud senior at Chino High School and a proud member of our school's chamber singers. This is my second year in an advanced choir, and therefore this is my second year performing bingo setup. Every Sunday morning, 8 to 9, we carefully set up the gem for bingo. We devote our time every Sunday to fundraise for our annual choir trip. For example, the fundraising last year, we went to Washington, D.C., and we were able to sing at Arlington Cemetery in their beautiful Coliseum. This experience not only brought tears to our eyes and memories to our hearts, but it also brought tears and memories to the tourists around us. It was not, we were only able to conduct this if it was for our bingo setup. And we devote our time to a setup that we truly care about. We are treated with respect every time we come in. We work very hard, and we know that it is very important and very detailed about safety along with their money. For my work with the boosters, I know that these are respectful and very logical people that I trust dearly with my safety when I set up and with the safety of the money that is going towards the very important thing that I work towards. You talk about how music is important to students and how we are your future. And these opportunities were able to happen because of bingo. So thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Huff, followed by Dawn, followed by Tricia Cawley.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, ladies and gentlemen of the school board and district officials. My name is Stephen Huff. My 4 children have been enrolled in Chino Valley Unified School District schools for the last 22 years. Our family has been in Chino Hills High School continuously for the last 13 years, and it will be 14 years when our youngest graduates next year. My children have been involved in performing arts programs continuously since elementary school. One thing that has been constant for our family has been fundraising for extracurricular activities. We've been heavily involved with bingo at Chino Hills High School since 2008. Bingo is a win-win opportunity. It is an excellent way for our senior citizens to socialize and be entertained. Trust me when I say those patrons wait all week for their opportunity to be there for that day. Many of them are so anxious to play that they show up over an hour before it starts. They are friendly and thankful to the students for setting up for what many is the brightest spot in their week. They play, sometimes win, but always know that any money lost goes straight to the kids with virtually no management overhead. They know they are setting, it is an amazing way for our students to learn community service. They know they are setting up for their patrons who will enjoy that day so much. The intergenerational interaction is special and rare. The students also win. The amazing part is that this fundraising opportunity benefits both athletic and non-athletic organizations. This is unique because stereotypically there's a divide between these groups. It really helps to encourage student body unity. Our experience is that bingo has always been the most efficient way to raise money for the kids. All it takes is some hard work. It's a great lesson for the kids. They receive funds when they work. If they choose not to work, that's okay. They don't get any funds. If they work more, they get more funds for their particular sport or club. It's that simple. I was informed this morning via email by Ms. Hernandez-Blair that she was not for the permanent ending of bingo program, but merely a suspension until all issues are resolved with the board. I really hope that this is the worst case scenario, because it's my understanding that unless any other vote is taken, the program would sunset by the end of this month, period. If it is a suspension, then for how long? What mechanisms are in place to make sure the program will be able to start again? If there are concerns on the board about finances, then work those concerns out and put any guidelines or policies in place to address those concerns. I could understand the suspension if the board was not getting any cooperation. I understand that many questions and issues have already been addressed. That shows me the boosters will get resolved and they're not trying to stonewall the school board. If this is the case, please cancel the suspension and continue to work with the boosters until it gets resolved. I fear that a suspension can be lengthened and turned into a de facto shutdown. Let's not punish the community while you're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Dawn, Tricia Cawley, followed by Lena Houston.
My name is Dawn Cejudo, and I'm currently serving as the president of the Chino Hills High School General Boosters, the nonprofit organization that oversees the successful bingo program. I'm here to clear up a few things that were mentioned at the March 7th board meeting in hopes to give you the information that was missing that evening. On September 7, 2018, the General Board met with the school district, Mr. Park, our auditor, and Mrs. Brennan, our principal, We collectively reviewed the improvement plan and discussed and agreed on amendments. Unfortunately, those amendments were never recorded by the school district. The school district thought the auditor made the updates, and therefore miscommunication happened all the way around. Nevertheless, Mr. Park used the original improvement plan to provide a progress report. The progress report made General Boosters look like we were not in compliance, and therefore resulted the board to be suspended based on not adhering to the improvement plan. On Friday, March 12, 2019, we requested a meeting with the district to discuss the improvement plan again. The school district apologized and stated that they dropped the ball. Mr. Park mentioned in his progress report the following, which was not highlighted in the meeting last March 7th. Quote, "The General Booster is transparent, organized, and keeps detailed record, which was easy to follow." The other quote he mentioned was, "This was sort of a revelation for me when I put all this together, but it looks like you don't really make hundreds of thousands of dollars, that the perception is of what's being made." Overall, another quote he said, "We did not encounter any problems or discrepancies during our tracing of cash and credit card deposits to corresponding monthly bank statements. The General Booster sends detailed financial reports to the school site administration every quarter, and the school district receives our financial report semi-annually as required in the booster guidelines. Our goal of the Chino Hills High School General Booster is to provide funding for the students, sports programs, teams, activities, and clubs. So far this year, we provided $99,000 in assistance. In addition, we have supported the nurse's office with diabetic supplies for the students. We paid for the award-winning Husky Howler newspaper to be accredited. We provided softball uniforms. We helped wrestling purchase new mats to be compliant for CIF. We sponsored the special Ed Winter dance. We purchased more than a third of the cost of the new mats that are protecting the $40,000 new wood gym floors. We helped sponsor field trips. We plan on sponsoring senior breakfasts this year and graduation activities for the students in need. At closing the March 7th meeting, a few board members stated, one stated, "Please consider the source of information and take into account the motives the individuals might have when they're providing you this information." Another one said, "Remember the facts." People don't remember the facts. There's misinformation out there, and it's unnecessary, and that information is causing heartache. The booster program is very important to Chino Hills High School, and we couldn't do it without our customers, volunteers, and our
Thank
students
you.
rely on it. Thank you.
Tricia Cawley, Lena Houston, followed by Brenda Nunley. Tricia Cawley.
Hi, I'm Trish Colley, and I'm the current treasurer of the Chino Hills High School General Booster Club. I'm here to talk about the numbers. Bingo succeeds as a fundraiser because our winning players are immediately paid out their winnings in cash. This keeps our players coming back and spending their money, hoping to win more. We call this a payout. Our payouts are very detailed and transparent records regarding our payouts on who won and how much they won. The amount we pay out is easily proven and stated by the district's auditor as roughly 73% of our gross income. As a nonprofit, our tax return is public. Anyone interested could see that our gross income was $1.2 million last year. But please keep in mind that is gross income. Subtract that 73% of winner payouts and you get a much smaller number. The audit report can be quoted as showing General Boosters only got $162,000 in a 6-month period. The General Boosters' largest expense after payouts is charitable contributions. This is the amount of money that we donate back to Chino Hills High School. To date, we have donated over $99,000 this school year to programs and activities at Chino Hills High School. Should this bingo program continue, we expect to more than double that number by the end of the school year. The rest of our income is spent on going back into 28% of it goes back into the bingo program, and the rest of it is spent on taxes, operating expenses, advertising, insurance, stipends, and equipment and licensing fees. Anyone who comes to our booster meeting can see a quarterly breakdown of exactly how the bingo proceeds are being spent. The quarterly reports are also filed with the Chino Hills High School administration, and semi-annual reports are filed with the school district. The General Booster strives to be as transparent as possible. The last meeting of the school board, Penal Code 326.5 was brought up with questions regarding General Boosters compliance. General Boosters immediately took this info to our expert advisors at our CPA firm. According to our advisors, General Boosters has always been in compliance with Penal Code 326.5. Our board stipends of roughly $500 a quarter are paid out of non-gaming funds, snack bar and merchandise sales. For further clarification and transparency, we have been advised to begin depositing all non-gaming revenue into a separate bank account and deduct payroll stipends and all associated fees and taxes from this separate account. This has been done and will continue going forward. Just to clarify, we are in complete compliance with Penal Code 326.5 and appreciate the school board for bringing this issue to our attention. The district's auditor has stated there is zero evidence of theft or mismanagement within our program. He stated that there is also no evidence of gross negligence or disregard for district directives. According to the IP, the improvement plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lena Houston, followed by Brenda Nunley, followed by Stan Stewart.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you for a minute or three. My name is Lena Houston. I am the president of the Chino Hills High School Music Booster Committee. But more importantly, I'm the mother of 4 pretty amazing kids, 2 of which are still active CVUSD students. Our daughter is a junior at Chino Hills High School. She's the 3rd of our children. We are on our 10th year, we're almost there, of being musical parents. So she is the 3rd to partake in the high school music program. She's a member of the award-winning marching band. She's a member of the concert band. She's a member of the wind ensemble, and she is a drummer in our world champion drumline team. Yeah, she's busy. Being a member of these musical groups has taught all of our children many things. They've learned commitment, they've learned responsibility, they've learned work ethic, they've learned teamwork. They have learned through many hours of practice, through many missed holidays, through missing every dance of high school, through not knowing what the word vacation even means, and learning that nothing great comes without hard work, sacrifice, and a lot of support. They have learned that the word team is not just the performers or their teammates. They have learned that it also includes those that stand behind them, holding them up by supporting them emotionally, academically, and of course financially. This program requires the support of many to maintain continued success and growth. In order for our children to maintain, or our program to maintain the standard of excellence that we have provided, the Chino Hills Music Program requires, listen closely, over $250,000 to run annually. Last year, it was $296,000 for our children to perform for the year. That money is raised primarily and almost completely by the generous donations of our 160, roughly, families. Through the years, we have been forced to think far outside of the box to come up with approved ways in which we can fundraise. We are no longer allowed to ask for payments, and we can no longer mandate fees. We appreciate and we need and we require any and every dime that we are able to raise and fundraise in support of our children's program. General Boosters and Bingo have played a large part in the success and the continued growth of the music program at Chino Hills and many other programs on campus. During the 2017-18 year, Music Boosters received over $40,000 in donations from General Boosters and Bingo. This year so far, we're already at $13,517, and it's growing. These donations are necessary to assist with travel costs, trailer repairs, instrument repairs, competition fees, and more. As the president of the Music Boosters, I urge you to reconsider your decision to suspend the Bingo program without looking further into the program itself, really looking. We welcome you volunteering. I'll gladly give you my shift. Come work my bingo shift. As a parent of a CVUSD student.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Brenda Nunley, followed by Stan Stewart, followed by Keith Parks.
Good evening, board members. My name is Brenda Nunley. My son is in part of the world champion drumline team, and because of Bingo, about $3,000 of that over the last 3.5 years has been donated to the music program in return for the hours that I have volunteered to work at Bingo's as a manager and in the music program. Bingo has been a huge part of why my son has been able to continue being on this amazing team. Bingo generously allows the parents of the music program to volunteer at bingo, and we have 5 bingos for the school year. And in turn, they donate that to our program. This in turn keeps the donation amount needed to run Drumline affordable for parents like me who don't have the extra means to do that. So without bingo, my son would not be in Drumline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stan Stewart, followed by Keith Parks, followed by Jane Jones.
Sorry, I didn't hear my name out there. Thank you, President Na and Board. I am Stan Stewart. I'm the girls' basketball coach at Chino Hills. I've been there for 10 years now. I'm going to echo much of what was said already, so please indulge me. I've been at the school now for 10 years. Both of my daughters have gone through the program and are now holding degrees and in the working world and out of the house. In the 10 years I've been there, Bingo, the General Board, they have produced or provided for us at least $60,000. I was doing today a budget looking back over what our expenses were for this year. And I don't know if many of you understand what the operating cost of a program is. Girls basketball, I oversee all 3 programs. Okay, so I have varsity, JV, and frosh soft. Our operating expenses to date are $9,900. Trying to raise that's extremely hard. Having bingo as a lever to do that, as a coach, understand something. I am not an in-school coach. I'm off campus. I'm in the working world. Okay, I've got a 10-hour day job. So I go to that gym in the evening till 8:30 at night. This is one less thing for me to have to worry about in terms of time spent. Now, the other part of this is uniforms. This has nothing to do with uniforms. We have to support our kids with uniforms every 2 years. Uniforms cost about $5,500 to $6,000. Okay, so add that to the other $10,000 and you can see where it adds up. You can't keep going back to the well. Parents get tired of kids coming home saying, Mom, I've got to do it, Dad, I've got to do another fundraiser. Can you call Grandma and Grandpa? Can we go out and sell cards? You know, it gets old. So it's really hard. You know, when I first started three years in, I went to the Junior Boosters because I had no opportunity to raise money for uniforms. They provided that for me. And if they didn't, we'd have been in big trouble. So aside from the community aspect of what you're providing for these people that attend the bingos, I think you're making a grave mistake here. I'm going to say that from being in the trenches. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keith Parks, followed by Jane Jones, followed by Susan Kirby.
Hello, my name is Keith Parks. Most of my points here have been covered by other people, but just a little other things that may not have been said yet. The amount of support that the parents give the kids that go through the school is basically enough money to buy their first car. That's how much a used car would be, but that's a lot of money. If you have 2 or 3 students going through it, it's a lot of money for the parents to come up through. So any of these extra money we can get, any of these extra fundraisers can do is just great support from everybody. But this program's been in place for 10 or 15 years now. And now after one audit, it hasn't been noticed, and after one audit, it's trying to be canceled. If you cancel or suspend this, it's going to be very hard for us to build this program back up for fundraising level that it's at right now. So I ask you not to do that. The audit report, from my understanding, has no gross negligence, and improvements have been made, and they need to continue to be made. We understand that. We will do that. At a very minimum, I'd ask for 1 year to allow for these changes to take place and for us to make additional changes if needed. If the audit comes back and says we need more, we'll do more changes. But give us that time. Don't give us 30 days or 45 days or to April 1st. It's just not enough time for us to save this program that way. And lastly, I'll just ask, if you're going to suspend this fundraising opportunities, I think it would be fair that the board commit to pay us the money that we're going to miss for the year. If we're going to lose $100,000 of this program, you find a way to get it out of your budget and give it to us while we go through this process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joyce Jones, followed by Susan Kirby, followed by Joy Tyson.
Good evening. My name's Joyce Jones, and I'm here to support the bingo at Chino Hills. I've been playing there for about 16 years since my husband passed away. Some of my girlfriends thought it would be good to get out of the house, and I've been there almost every Sunday since. And it's just great for widows and older folks. And I've made a lot of friends there, and I really look forward to Sundays, and it's really special to us. I drive a few older ladies than me there. And a lot of ladies that go to bingo are up in age, and they really look forward to it. And it's about the only bingo that plays in the daytime, and it's in a safe area. And some of the older people don't drive at night. It's wonderful to be able to support the kids so they can participate in the sports and other activities that bingo helps with. And there are some that could not participate without the help, I know. It would be a shame to end this, and please don't take the bingo away from us. I think it's good for our minds, too, to keep us... Yeah. And if there's a problem, fix it. It can be fixed, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Kirby, followed by Joy Tyson, followed by Daniel Cabellos.
Hi, good evening. My name is Susan Kirby. I live in Rowland Heights, and I play at Chino Hills High every weekend. I enjoy all the people. The volunteers are fantastic. Your callers are wonderful. We have a really, really good time. And just like our previous lady said, there's a lot of people that do not drive in the dark. It's too dangerous for them to be out. So we need you to keep it open. If you close it, the people will find another bingo and they will be gone. So I really hope you will keep it open. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Joy Tyson.
Hello. Hi. My name is Joy Tyson. I'm hard of hearing on the right. I'm deaf on the left. I wear a hearing aid on the right ear. I hear real well. I lip free. I have... First of all, I went to Port Chino Hill High School because I've been going there for 16 years. Not all the time, but on Sunday. I have several of my deaf friends that like to come. And when they play bingo, they sign language and talk. And I tell them it's time to play and concentrate. And no talking on the phone. And I tell them the flash board, the pool tab, put your name on the pool tab, and they draw their name, and they need to hear. Luckily, I have good hearing. I've been very blessed by God. Got a lot of things that happened to me and my family. I move on. I retired from state service worked for lineman for 37.50 years. It's been 5 years that I've been retired on March 10th. I have a lot of friends. Sometimes when I go to Chino Hills to play bingo, and I know sign language, and to tell them what game to play to come 6 months in July and December. This bingo here in Chino Hills is very nice and very warm, and they welcome you like your family. I've been going there for 16 years. The volunteers and workers here are very, and the callers here, James and Ken, and some other callers are very, very wonderful callers, bingo callers. I like to stop in front so I can hear, and I hear real well. If you can't sleep when you're playing bingo, you gotta keep awake. You can't sleep, that's why you have coffee and water.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You try to make people laugh. You try to make people laugh. And you gotta enjoy life, because we don't know how long we're gonna be here. And, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel Ceballos, followed by Cheryl Manor, followed by Karen Hassett.
Good evening, cabinet members and community. My son Nicolas Ceballos was a Chino Valley student from kindergarten until his high school graduation in 2017. Prior to this incident, he had a clean criminal record, no disciplinary issues, and great social and family interaction. Just over a year ago, Nicolas was accused by a student of making threats to shoot up his former high school. Consequences: Nicolas was arrested and fingerprinted, was suspended from college for a whole semester and declared persona non grata on campus, had to change his major since he now holds a criminal record, lost his job, his name was trashed in countless media outlets, spent thousands of dollars in legal representation to be reinstated in college. His dad had to get an evening job to pay for the unexpected expenses, not to mention the ongoing personal, family, and social trauma. How it happened: Nicolas went to Ayala High School to visit some friends from theater. He joined a small group of students who were talking about the recent Parkland tragedy. The topic transitioned into the safety of their own school and how vulnerable it was for an attack. Someone who was not part of the group overheard my son saying how someone could easily do a lot of harm and took it as he was making a threat. The report: 5 days later, this student brought the issue to the attention of the school principal, Ms. Jarboy. Law enforcement was called in right away, and in a matter of 4 hours, there was a search and arrest warrant for my son. The police investigation found no guns, no means or plan to carry out the alleged threat, no social media references to it, no history of disorderly conduct, and no psychological problems. Two witnesses present in the conversation wrote statements saying that no threats were ever made by Nicolas. Of course, the good news doesn't make the headlines. The verdict: the district attorney did not file charges for lack of evidence. Chino police cleared my son. The University of La Verne reinstated my son after their own investigation was concluded. As of today, the Chino Valley School District is not allowing Nicolas on school grounds or school events. He petitioned in writing to grant him permission to be present. The district declined the request. Nicolas will be missing his brother's graduation this May. It's been a year. When is this going to end? Conclusion: there are no winners in this case. Bad press was brought to our community and unnecessary confusion and fear to our members. I'm here to start a conversation on this issue. What can we do to avoid proactively such collateral damage in the future? Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, unfortunately, we have 30 minutes, a lot time passed. Those speakers that would like to speak could wait until we have all these action items done. So, Pat? We are now at changes and deletions. Pat, are there any changes or deletions?
No changes or deletions.
We're now at the action items. Please announce the first item.
Item 2A1, Cal Aero Preserve Academy K-8 temporary boundary change.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the Cal Aero Preserve Academy K-8 temporary boundary change. Are there any speakers?
4 speakers. The first speaker is Joe Fraga, followed by Kylie and Lisa Fraga.
Good evening. I want to start off by thanking Mr. Na and Mr. Cruz for coming out last Thursday to the meeting at the school. Mr. Schaefer for having coffee with us on Tuesday. And Ms. Gagne for welcoming us to your clubhouse on Saturday for coffee to listen to our concerns and our proposed solutions for the situation that we find ourselves in. All of our conversations were very fact-based. Fact, the school is at capacity, ripping at the seams. It's been like that for some time now. Our neighborhood is continuously growing, and homes are being built at a rapid rate, and that's been going on for a long time, yet we're only 30% built out. Fact, the district has been well aware of the rising situation for years now, and yet nothing has been done about our current situation. Fact, a big fact, the district has lobbied for Measure G votes with the promise of a second preserve school will be built. Years have gone by, no school, no plans, and busing our overflow to Ontario is the only solution that's been proposed. We need to make the second school a priority. We need short-term solutions to fix a situation that we shouldn't be in to begin with. Possible solution is adding more portables until the school is built, although that's not the dream scenario. It's the best solution for the scenario that we find ourselves in, as keeping our children of the preserve at their home school is the #1 priority and concern for us. Or if we must be bus our children, busing our kids to a much closer school such as Butterfield or Chaparral, for example, is a little bit more ideal than sending them all the way across to Ontario, which is not acceptable by any means to anybody in the preserve. Our community was built so that families can have a home, the home school where they can walk and go to school with their friends that they grow up with. That's what makes a preserve the gem that it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's a small town feel where everybody knows each other, and most of that is due to the relationships built at Cal Aero Preserve Academy. And I respectfully ask that the board do the right thing for these kids, students, families, and whatever short-term solution is chosen, it must, and I emphasize it must, include the second Cal Aero school on the horizon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Haley and Lisa Fraga, followed by April.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Fraga. I'm 10 years old, and I have lived in the preserve all my life. I would like to tell you how this situation affects me personally. My dream when I grow up is to be a singer and actress. And in 6th grade, I hope to go to a performing arts school. And I'm afraid to go now at this point because what if I don't like performing arts school? And I want to come back. As you know, Cal Aero is at capacity. And I don't think it's fair to bus kids 2 hours a day to Ontario. In my personal opinion, I think that we should build the second school so they could be bused to a more closer school, like my dad said. It's not fair for the kids in our community. Whatever the district has to do to keep all the kids in the same community, that's what we have to do because it's the good thing to do. I appreciate your time that you gave me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
April Moranan, followed by Pat Loy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is April Moranan, and I have lived in the preserve for about 9 years. I'm here to speak as a mother and as a teacher. What attracted me to the preserve was the school. Even before I got married and had my own kids, I already knew I wanted to live there because of the school. I was able to tour the school before it was even built. I mean, well, not before it was built, before it was even opened, in the process of it being built. And I thought to myself, wow, this is where I want my kids to grow up if I ever had them at that time. So here they are now. I currently have this one at the school, and I have a 2-year-old at home. I have been an elementary teacher for over 12 years, right next door at Ontario Montclair. I know what it's like to work in a classroom that has been maxed out. I know what it's like to work at a Title I school. I know what it's like to not have parent support, and I know what it's like to have parent support right here. I could have chosen to take my own child to the school I teach at because I have awesome teachers there. But I chose Cal Aero because of the community we live in. My daughter practically grew up knowing all our neighbors. They are not strangers to her. They are family. I can't imagine my youngest not being able to attend Cal Aero. On our way here, I asked my oldest one here how she would feel if her little sister didn't go to the same school as her. Her response was, I'd go crazy. And I wasn't expecting that response. I thought she was going to say sad. But she said, she's my little sister. Why would she go to a different school? I chose our neighborhood. I chose our community. I chose our school because deep down, this is where I want my kids to flourish and grow. Not at my school, as much as I love the school I work at. But it's the people that I live with, near and around. Please reconsider your boundary changes and in building Preserve 2 sooner than later, for the sake of our community, our families, future students, and little sisters and brothers who have been dreaming of someday going to Cal Aero, just like my 2-year-old, who has been dreaming of this since she started seeing her sister go to school 2 years ago. Thank you.
Pat Loy.
Good evening, President and members of the board. I'm Pat Loy. I represent Lewis Planned Communities. With me tonight is Randall Lewis, also Brian Goodman of the Lewis organization. So this is a real important issue before you tonight. And over the last month, you've heard from many residents, community members about this issue. We're here, we represent not only those families, but the families to come and the students to come in the areas that are still to be developed in the preserve. I personally attended many of the meetings where Greg made presentations to the community and listened to what the residents had to say and the questions were raised. Some things stood out to me. The preserve residents, they love Cal Aero Preserve Academy. So the school, many of the folks in this room made it the great place to be, so thank you. And the families, the community, that's really the heart of the community. So it stands out. They love their school, they're involved, they're engaged. They care and they're concerned for their children and their kids, as we all are. But the big concern, as I see it, is just the uncertainty about the proposal. And we understand the boundary change issue is before you tonight. But it seems to us the big issue is really what's happening in the future of the second school. There's uncertainty, there's doubt, there's distrust. Nobody can tell somebody how long this temporary situation will last. So we understand that the district has declining enrollment, and that impacts the district, but the preserve is also one of the big growing areas in the city of Chino and in the district's area. So it's a difficult issue before you. Measure G, when that was proposed to vote, part of the sales point to the community was for them to vote on that measure, and which was approved, was the building of the second school. That was a key sales point. Lewis companies, we also pay substantial property taxes. We have income properties, so we're invested in that as well. We're paying those taxes. So it seems to us a key thing now, the lady earlier came up and she said if there's a problem, fix it. We see it, the second school, making that a priority, hiring the architect. There's money available. So we think there's an opportunity for the district to eliminate some of the uncertainty, the doubt, the mistrust. And just we respectfully ask the district and the board to just consider this about hiring the architect for the second school, directing the staff, the superintendent to make that a priority, set a timeline, a funding plan. Lewis owns the property. We stand committed to work with the district to make that happen, to figure out ways to make things more economical, make it efficient, make things happen at the same time, make it more expedient. So thank you for listening to us tonight.
Board members, before we we're going to hear from Dr. Enfield at this time.
Tonight there is a action item regarding the approval of a proposed temporary boundary change, and I want to try to clear up some, I think, confusion. First off, the Chino Valley Unified School District Board of Education, along with staff and myself, have never said that we were going to delay or not build a second school in the preserve. When the land becomes available to purchase, the district will move forward with the purchasing of the property for the second school. Currently, we're waiting for the California Department of Education to approve that site, and once it's approved, we'll purchase the land when the land's available. Now, for the action item before the board tonight on the proposed boundary change, a yes vote on this item allows the current residents who have children at Cal Aero and their siblings who are not old enough to attend Cal Aero to be grandfathered into Cal Aero when their children enter kindergarten. This would give them preference over a resident who moves into the preserve in the future. It would also reduce the current boundary of Cal Aero and would define a new boundary for the second school in the preserve. A no vote on this item would mean staying status quo, no change to the Cal Aero boundary, and follow the regular process of overflowing students when the school reaches its capacity. I believe changing the boundaries is the right thing to do, but board members, it's your decision to make tonight.
You may have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Blair, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Comments and discussions. Ms. Gagne first, then Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, I just want to make some initial comments. So I've had the opportunity to speak with many community members, and that's my number one concern is members of our community. Obviously, there are a variety of stakeholders involved in this situation, and a lot of things happening behind the scenes that I think community members may or may not be privy to. But again, I'm most concerned with our community members, not the politics or the mechanics of some of the things that are happening. I do want to be clear about one thing, though, and this is just, I want to get this fact out there because I do think it's causing a lot of uncertainty. And one thing that always troubles me with a lot of the issues that get dealt with locally, politically, is that if there ever is misinformation about something, people tend to get very upset, warranted, tend to get upset, and then we find out, well, that fact was not wrong, or maybe something was misrepresented. And my goal is to make sure that in whatever decision this board makes, we are looking at the facts, but we're also listening to the people that are going to be impacted by the decision. I do want to reiterate something Dr. Enfield shared, which is when voters approve Measure G, there are funds set aside to purchase the land for the second school. That money has not moved. It hasn't been shifted. It's not in the ether. It's being used to purchase the land for the second school. We are in the process of getting state approval to do that. So the wheels are in motion. I appreciate that some people will probably view these wheels as moving quite slowly and not in quite the fashion that they'd like those wheels to move. But I do want to be clear that money that voters approved, I approved as well. I was in Chino. I now live in Chino Hills when Measure G was passed. That money is there to build the second school. It has not moved. It is there. So I just want to make that clear because I do see some messaging in the audience, and I've gotten a lot of questions about what happened to those funds. So I do want to make that clear. And the reason I want to make that clear is I also would feel uncertainty if I thought I had voted on something and funds had been set aside and all of a sudden I was told it wasn't going to happen. So I definitely appreciate that. We definitely have some challenges with these boundary changes. I appreciate that. I think one of the challenges I face as a board member is, I still think there's some open questions. I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of community members. They have questions that I'm not yet in a position to answer. And as a board member, if I'm not in a position to answer and effectively liaise with our community members, I can't make an educated decision, and I can't make a fair decision that will benefit not only those who live in the preserve, but other people in our community that will be impacted. So my request this evening, before I make any other comments, just so it's sort of clear where I'm going with all of this, beyond clarifying the whole financing detail, is I don't feel I'm yet in a position where I can take a vote on this, and so one request I'm going to make after allowing my fellow board members to have an opportunity to voice their opinion, which again, no one has had the opportunity to do that, is to table this for right now, because I don't think that we have some questions answered, and I'd like to get some answers to those questions.
Mrs. Blair.
Dr. Enfield, I know you provided us with an update. Are you able to share any of what the update was with the public? Like the meeting with Lewis? Like just that we've met? Because I think that's the concern, is that parents believe that there is no communication, but there has been.
Yes, there has been a meeting with Lewis, and we're still in meetings and conversations, and we'll continue to meet with him.
Okay, and I think that that's important, because a lot of the messages that I received in the emails were requesting that the district return to discussions with the developer, and that has occurred, and so I want to put that out there. In addition, for the two newest board members, it is a bit difficult to come into something that they really didn't have input in regarding Measure G and the outline of projects. And it's easy to request that one thing become a priority over something else. Because if we do that, there will be another group of community members here saying, but wait, you worked on a plan of how to spend the money. And I'd encourage you to go on to the district website. The Measure G PowerPoints are on there. We, as a board, spent a lot of time detailing how the bonds would be spent as the money came in. The second school is on that list. But again, I just would encourage you as a parent in this school district with a child still here, is that what you don't want is to make it seem as though you could care less about the other items and the other school sites that are on the list. We worked a lot on that priority list, or at least how the money was going to be spent. And so I know you're not saying make us a priority and forget everyone else. I know that that's not what you're saying, but that is what is out there. And so just know that there are things that are happening, and no one has forgotten that Measure G includes the second school. And yes, are you in need? Absolutely. There was a discussion I had with the parent about portables, but several years ago there were parents opposed to more portables. That discussion needs to be had. If it's a possibility and we're open to that, then let's do that on a temporary basis. But there are discussions, and it is important to all of us. But yes, there are two board members here who unfortunately weren't here from the start regarding how the bond money was going to be spent. And maybe we need a board study session, Dr. Enfield, and so we could get the plan out there again, and include our two new board members.
Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to speak with several members of the preserve community, and I hear your concerns, and I feel your frustration. I think it's important that we remember it's easy to kind of combine all of these issues, but there are three separate issues that I kind of see. One is the boundary change, the temporary boundary change. One is the overcrowding issue at Calero. And the third would be the second school in the preserve. And although they're all intertwined, they're all on very separate time schedules and timetables, and so we need to address them as individual issues. But we need to make sure, and I agree that maybe a study session would be the best thing, because we do need to make sure that we have an end goal in sight so that when we put these temporary solutions in place, whether it's more portables or a temporary boundary change, that they are temporary and that we do have an end goal in sight, and that that's only fair to the folks that live there now, and it's only fair to the folks that are considering moving there as the development comes forward. So again, I hear your concerns, and I can't change what was said and done in the past. I was not part of that conversation, but I'm committed to being part of the solution moving forward. So with that, I'll yield my time back.
Mr. Cruz.
Yes. So, you know, what is our concern? Our concern is the best interest of our kids. Very simple as that. We know in the future you're going to have new kids coming, and we know that it's wrong to separate kids from their friends, obviously. So we also know that the school is overcrowded. It's a year-round school, so it makes perfect sense, common sense, to build another school, a priority. And at the same time, overflowing, common sense, it's not good for kids, nor the increase of busing, which causes a safety issue. So immediately, you don't have to table anything. You simply say no to this thing, and like the gentleman stated, you have bungalows in the area. Because this is very simple. It's the best interest, and you focus on another school, which Measure G had a lot to do with it, and it passed, probably had a lot to do with the preserve. So it's common sense. You do what's right for kids. Simple as that. Everything else really doesn't matter.
I would like to make a comment now. There are things that we plan. Sometimes a vacation, sometimes holiday get-togethers, sometimes taking kids to museums. So those are all intact and well organized. For me, I'm not an organized person, per se, but I know that I go by my common sense. If something is happening, like roof leaks, what is your vacation? What is your holiday gatherings? You fix the roof first. I'm feeling, yes, I'm all for building brand new Chino High School, remodernizing, and make sure that all the children are served and they're happy. But this one talks about breaking up families, saying no to new families moving into a great community, Chino, which is our school district. And how could we say no to that? We have to be open arms and put this project in priority list. So make sure the kids will not be separated, and this will get to known to other communities members so that they would understand what we stand for. We stand for our children. I stand for that little girl there. What if she moved to another school and wants to come back and something didn't work out? That's a great fear for the little girl. And we used to be a little too. You know, I used to be afraid when I broke my plate, and I used to hide from my mom. And it still haunts me now. Now it's not a big deal. You could go to Walmart and get a set. But as a little people, there are great things in their mind. And without the kids, this district office do not have to exist. We don't need teachers. We don't need staff members. But it's about kids. If we say really about kids, I'll put this on a priority list #1, because it's like roof leaking. And what comes better after years from now that we did the right thing? Not what the book says, not what TV says, fake news, no more. We're about our community. We're going to protect our kids and love our children, not in our, just as what we saying, but what we do it. Okay, so I would support moving this project forward in priority list. Thank you. So, Ms. Gagne.
So at this point, I'm just going to sum up what I'm going to say has been the conversation and then sort of make a point that I think is obvious, which is I have a feeling that the proposal as it stands now is not going to pass. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just going to go on a limb here. I have to disagree, though, that we don't need to, even if we say no tonight, we do need a plan. The school is overcrowded. So we can't just sit around and say we're keeping everybody together and then not address the overcrowding problem. Let's say that the school becomes a priority. It's still going to take 2 or 3 years to build a school. So we still have to have a conversation about this. So I am uncomfortable with voting no and then just saying, well, that the whole thing's going to resolve itself. It's not. We just had parents up here saying it hasn't resolved itself. So I do want to make the point that if we are going to say no, I endorse us having a study session, talking about the priorities, talking about the bond money, because we aren't operating in a vacuum. But also, we have other issues we do need to address, and we do need a temporary solution. And I feel like everybody in this conversation has been reasonable. When I've had conversations with parents, they've been reasonable conversations. Everyone's admitted to some extent there needs to be a temporary solution because there's a pervasive problem. So what I would endorse is that if we are going to not pass this tonight, we then immediately take some action to come up with a temporary solution, discuss that solution as a community, but all agree that there has to be some temporary solution before the new academic year.
Mr. Cruz and Mr. Schaefer? Okay, Mr. Cruz first.
The only solution is you put more bungalows. So that's it. And you fix it.
Mr. Schaefer.
Actually, Ms. Gagne hit on a lot of the points that I wanted to talk about. Regardless of what happens with this action item tonight, it's important that we start the conversation to figure out what we can do in the short term, and I do say short term because it needs to be a temporary fix. I don't think anybody wants to see a bunch of additional portables out there for years and years and years. But I think it may be a palatable solution for a lot if there is a light at the end of the tunnel and there's movement forward and progress being made to alleviate the overcrowding in a reasonable time.
Okay, Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, the solution is the priority is the second school, and then you proceed with WLC, and you devise a plan. That's it.
I'd just like to thank that the parents and your desire and your hearts, and we can see that our district is listening, and quite clearly, and our partners, Louis Home, are listening too. So I believe we'll come up with a solution that is good for our kids, and one that is temporary, and one in long term, but in a very short time. So I would also agree to have a session if Dr. Enfield would see that is appropriate for time schedule.
Yes, we can, absolutely.
So we just don't have to vote for this then? Ms. Gagne?
I'd like to make a motion to table this item.
Okay. I second that item.
We have some discussion on that.
No,
Yes.
it's not debatable.
What?
A motion to table is not debatable. You just need a motion and a second, and debate. It ends debate.
I'll rescind my motion. It seems like my colleagues might have some comments.
I just want to make sure that if we table this, that if we decide that it's part of a short-term solution down the road, that we can bring it back at that point, that we're not throwing it away, so to speak. Because it may very well be part of a short-term solution. We won't know until we start talking about it and looking at it. And so I don't want to completely throw it off the table if it's an important piece of a short-term solution. So as long as we can bring this back at a later time, I'm fine with your motion to table.
Yeah, you're able to bring it back.
Okay.
Then I'll renew my motion to table.
I have already seconded this, so, okay. Now we're going to vote?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
That's 4-1. Thank you.
Preferential.
And,
Aye.
okay, passes 4-1.
Item 2B1, Resolution 2018-2019-35, notice of layoff of certain classified staff pursuant to Education Code 45117 and 45298.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2018-2019-35, notice of layoff of certain classified staff pursuant to...
Why don't you let them exit?
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Pursuant to Education Code 45117 and 45298. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
No speakers. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Gagne, seconded by Ms. Blair. Comments and questions? Dr. Enfield, will this item affect any of our employees?
No, this is a recommendation from a school site that uses Title I categorical money, and there is nobody in this position, and the school site council wants to do away with the position, and so by ed code we have to lay off the position even though there's nobody being affected.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. We're now at consent items. Pat, are there any speakers? Seeing none. Board members, do you have any polls? Mr. Schaefer,
No polls, thank you.
Ms. Gagne,
No polls, thank you.
Mr. Cruz,
No polls.
Ms. Blair.
No pools.
Oh, me too, awesome. For the remainder of consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair, second.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Gagne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And preferential?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Now, at this time, if we had any speakers that who had given us the cards to speak, you're allowed to speak at this moment.
Cheryl Manor, Karen Hassett, James Lonnie,
Good evening, Board. My name is James Lanny, and I'm here to discuss the concerns regarding Chino Hills High Bingo. I've watched the school board meeting last time you held it, and I was appalled by the lack of knowledge, misinformation, and flat-out lies that were in understanding how this premier fundraising activity operates. Excuse me. Not here to dwell on that meeting. And I understand that information has been provided after that meeting that is not just to the auditor, but also to the board members directly. Excuse me, my voice. I've been involved in Chino Hills High Bingo for 4 years. And during that time, I've come to have respect for not only the professionalism on how bingo is run, but also the dedication and integrity of the individuals that run it. I'm here to speak, however, as a parent. My daughter, coming from Townsend, went into Chino Hills High Bingo in the Color Guard program. And the Color Guard program had a big jump in cost to be involved in that. That's how I got involved, is by volunteering for bingo. Based on my involvement, it made Color Guard affordable for all 4 years. I had very little outlay out of my own pocket. She got to perform and win at various schools all over the state. Color Guard is one small example. All the various sports and activities that Chino Hills High Bingo supports would all lose that funding. Could other fundraising activities take place? Not to the extent that bingo consistently supports week in and week out. When my daughter was in color guard, she has since graduated. But competitions were put on the calendar that ultimately had to be canceled. Why? Because too many parents took advantage of the fact that payment is optional, and they could not be excluded for lack of payment. Ultimately, there wasn't enough funds for the kids to perform like they expected. If you kill bingo, you will drive a knife not through bingo, but through the heart of every one of the many sports and activities that bingo has supported for 16 years. I mentioned earlier my daughter graduated. I'm still involved with bingo. I have no other children involved at Chino Hills High, but I'm still involved because of the dedication and integrity of the individuals that are involved. On behalf of the parents, I implore the board to allow bingo to run undisturbed while the final information that the board seeks is understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Heather Keehan. Heather Keehan. Cynthia Dickerson.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Dickerson, and I'm the parent of a senior at Chino Hills High as well as 3 Husky alumni, and I'm speaking to urge you to continue the bingo program without interruption. I've read the article in the Champion, and I've viewed the minutes from the last board meeting, and the concerns that have been raised are unfounded and have no substance. Bingo has complied with all the requirements and restrictions the board has given them, and the activities of their dedicated volunteers are above reproach. The auditor has already stated that the financial records are transparent and well organized. Bingo doesn't need to be suspended in order for the audit to be completed. Businesses have audits all the time and they don't shut down. The auditor just needs to give it some undivided attention. Suspending bingo on April 1st would have a far-reaching impact on the students at Chino Hills High. Our program's budget for the full academic year, assuming that bingo money will continue to be available. There are events and activities across a variety of programs that may have to be canceled if the games are shut down, including grad night and the senior trip. Not only that, but shutting down over the summer would eat into next year's budgets and make it more difficult to plan our programs. As others before me this evening have said, bingo money benefits students across our campus in a variety of ways, from established programs like music and athletics, to supplies for the school nurse's office, to prom tickets and graduation gowns for homeless students, and so much more. Our bingo players are loyal community members who love our students and want to help our school. There are other places that they could play bingo, but they choose to spend their money to help our students. A number of our bingo players came here to support us tonight, and I'm sure that if you ask any one of them, you'll see that they share our Husky pride. The bingo program is a successful fundraiser that is supported by a large and diverse group of dedicated parent volunteers. It's not just helping a select few, its money benefits our entire student body in a variety of important ways. It gives all students an opportunity to participate in our activities, not just those who can afford it. Please reconsider your decision to suspend bingo on April 1st, and don't suspend it over this summer either. The school needs bingo, and once it's suspended, it will be much harder to get it up and running again. Do your due diligence, and you'll see that the program is exemplary and something that the district can be proud of. Thank you.
Tony Montanez.
Hi, good evening. I'm Tony Montanez. I work at Alternative Ed at the Alternative Education Center, and so I know there's been a lot of people speaking about things that are very, very close to their hearts, and with good reason, because it's their children, their community. And so I just wanted to express our appreciation for the district's support and the board's support for the Alternative Education Center. And because all of us are happy to work there, because our campus is a calm alternative for students who need it. And we have like a little nickname for our campus. We call it the Campus of Hope. So we're a bit concerned about the new charter school. sharing some of our space because one of our colleagues came from a campus who her campus was taken over by a charter school. So we don't want that to happen. Our program works because we have increased in numbers. I believe we're up to 470 right now. So we're not insignificant. So I hope that we can continue to count on your support to keep our campus. And I know that there are many factors when making decisions with concerning facilities and charter schools, but we serve students who need a campus like ours. And a few weeks ago, I met with two students who have had experienced some anxiety with on their campuses, and so it just confirms that they need a place like ours. And so if our campus saves one student from a terrible situation, I think it pays for itself. So if it comes up to make a decision about our campus, we hope that we can continue to count on your support. Thank you very much.
Kian Masawa.
What was the name?
Kian Masawa. Elizabeth Curio.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Curvis, and my daughter attends Chino Hills High School and is part of the marching regiment, concert band, and jazz band. The bingo program for me has been an amazing way for me to raise funds for her fair share account, including recently helping to fund her trip to San Francisco with the jazz band, which she's really looking forward to. And I would like to open up to you why bingo is so important to me. I'm a single parent, and I live paycheck to paycheck, but being able to volunteer my time to help her and the band program is something I'm extremely grateful for. With bingo alone this year, I've been able to raise over $800 for her fair share account, and if bingo is suspended, it kind of stresses me out because I'm not sure how I'll be able to get funds. I understand band is, you don't have to pay to participate, but our programs cost a lot of money to fund, and I can't imagine having to tell our kids who work so hard that you can't go to this concert, you can't go to this competition that you've worked all season for because we don't have the funds to allow you to go to these things. Our boosters work really hard to fund our programs so that all kids can participate. And additionally, bingo has been a great way for parents like me to fundraise for our kids without having to get a part-time job or a second job, which then takes away time from our children. Additionally, I just wanted to say that I've been honored to call many of the bingo players my newfound friends. The volunteers that I work with have become like family. I look forward to seeing those on the basketball, on the swim team, connecting with all these parents. All of them love volunteering for their kids, for their program. There's so much heart at this high school and all programs across the board. And I would just like to implore the board that while you do your investigations, your concerns, that you please don't suspend the bingo program during this time. If I look at it, my daughter's planning to do band through her senior year. She's a freshman. So I'm looking at about $6,000 towards her fair share over the next 3 years. And bingo is definitely going to help me to meet that need. So I would implore the board to really consider not suspending it during this time. Thank you very much.
Michael Young.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Young. I'm a parent of 3. My son has graduated 2010. I've got a senior and a junior, and the General Boosters at Chino Hills High School is much more than a bingo program. However, without the bingo program, it wouldn't be able to do the many things that it does. They provide funds for academics, athletics, activities, and what you've heard from countless others before me is that they really set the culture of the school. They allow a forum for parents from all of these different clubs, activities, athletics, academics to come together and support each other, get to know each other, help fundraise. We all understand the, I guess, the challenges of being a public school and trying to do all of the wonderful award-winning programs that we do at Chino Hills High School. I have 2 daughters who are on the Spirit Leader program, which is a $120,000 up program, and it's a year-long program. They do competitions, they're at every game, cheering on things, they do rallies, and they've loved it. It's, you know, an integral part of their high school years. Bingo provides, well, I mean, the General Boosters provides prom dresses, grad night tickets, and other fees for students who otherwise would not have access. They provide scholarships for students looking for continuing education. The list is endless, and we've got a world champion drumline, a national champion band, a national champion basketball team, well, state champion basketball team, award-winning Spirit Leaders, a national champion dance team, some of the top academics, and the support of General Boosters goes for aquatics, baseball, you name it. They're able to support these programs because of bingo. Bingo provides $10,000 to $12,000 a year towards the Spirit Leader program, depending on how many, I guess, assignments were given. But it's also an integral part of the community. It's one of the rare opportunities where multi-generational interaction is celebrated. You've heard from some of our senior patrons, but our parents serve, and our kids see these wonderful people leaving as they're, you know, either celebrating their victory or saying, hey, well, we donated a lot to you today. But it's you know, it is an opportunity for them to come together. I guess in conclusion, without bingo, the General Boosters' ability to support and impact the many student lives would be restrictively diminished. And so we're just asking for, you know, if there's a problem, let's work together to find a solution. But suspending a program and having all the people go away is going to be really hard to recover. Thank you.
Chris Stevens. Did you say Chris? Chris Stevens? Oh, okay, that's it. That's it, football coach.
Great. We're now at board member comments. Mr. Schaefer.
Good information.
Okay, information items. Any discussion, any questions? Seeing none? Okay, then Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you.
You still weren't ready.
Thank you for that report. First, I'd like to say thank you to Oak Ridge and their historic heroes presentation tonight. And congratulations once again to the Chino Hills High School Boys Basketball State Championship Division I team, back-to-back. I'm not going to comment much about what's going on down at the preserve. I think we had a pretty healthy debate or discussion on that already. Dr. Infield, I would just like to see if we can't fast-track a governance session or a study session on that so we can continue to get input and come up with some solutions for the short term. As far as the bingo, I'm not going to discuss the actual program either because I don't think that's appropriate since it's going to be coming back before the board for a vote. And so it's not appropriate to talk about the issues without having it on the agenda. I will say, though, that I concur completely with everyone that the bingo and the General Boosters, by way of bingo, does a fantastic job. And there's no way to backfill that money. But it's also important to make sure that everything is done in an appropriate and transparent manner. And so I can't speak for the rest of the board, but my actions at the meeting to suspend the bingo was done to get the conversation started because we had stagnated on some of the recommendations that were in the audit report. And it's important to get that information out so that the entire board has the opportunity to hear the information and receive all the information to make a decision. So with that being said, Dr. Enfield, I'd like to request that that item come back at the April 4th meeting.
Not a problem.
Mrs.
I have a couple more things real quick. I was able to attend a anti-cyberbullying presentation at Chino Hills High School. It was put on by an assistant district attorney from Riverside County. She did a fantastic job of presenting all the aspects of bullying, how it affects the victims, the state of mind for the most part of the bully themselves, and then also the legal consequences. And it was very well received by the students. And so if there are any of our other junior high or even high schools that would like to look at the program, I would encourage you to contact Mr. Finkbeiner over at Canyon Hills. We had a Baldy View Commission meeting. There's nothing to report out of that. And as far as the Chino Hills Parks and Recreation Committee or Commission, we had a meeting last night, and I will defer to Vice Mayor Bennett's thorough report earlier about all the happenings going on over in the city of Chino Hills. So with that, I'll conclude my comments. Thanks for attending and have a great evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Gagne.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all the parents for attending this evening, and it's 9:16, so I'll be brief. I know you need to get home. I've had the opportunity to keep visiting our wonderful schools. I was able to visit Dixon Elementary, as well as Buena Vista and Don Lugo yesterday. I was amazed at Don Lugo High School, just the progress with career pathways and career technical education. They are really doing a lot to support our high school students and make sure that all students have career pathways upon graduation. I also got to pet a goat and a dog, so that was a pretty good trip in my book to visit a high school. But in that view, in terms of career pathways, I'm also excited to announce that, in my role working with the Chamber, I've been meeting with the Executive Director, and we have some new programs that I'm going to be collaborating with the Chamber on, including a mentorship program for students as well as Job Shadow. So once there's more information, I'm really excited to partner and work with the Chamber on this because we have a wonderful leadership at the Chamber, wonderful members, and I think we just need to connect those members to our students to make sure our students have pathways to success. So thank you and good night.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
I'll be very brief. Our next board meeting will be after April 1st, and bingo will be suspended. And the best interest of kids would at least have a special meeting next week and rescind the suspension. That'd be the best thing to do, and then talk about what we can do. I mean, that's common sense. It really is. You just have to focus in the proper place. But I attended a special ed dance, and I tell you, those are amazing dances. You got some great people there, and fabulous time for everybody, the students and so forth. You have Eubanks, a teacher that supports all this, Miss Butler and her husband, and the culinary teacher. Fantastic people. And then I attended the Public Safety Chamber of Commerce. They honor the men and women of local fire and police and sheriff department. So it's great that they have been doing this for the past years. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Blair.
I'm not going to say I'll be brief because I may not. I want to begin by acknowledging the parent who spoke about his son and the threat that was made that kind of blew up in our community. And I want to say that because, Facebook is really good about reminding us of what transpired a year ago. And a year ago, there was a student who made a threat towards his prior junior high school. So when you started speaking, I thought, is it the same? But then I remembered the situation. But I say that to say that I think we've become oversensitive when certain things are shared. For example, earlier today, and for those parents that are here from Chino Hills High School, Mrs. Brenna sent out a message indicating that the threat that had been reported ended up having been sent out by a fake account using the student's name. And my only reply to Dr. Enfield was how bad I felt for that student whose morning was so frightening. But that's where we've gotten. We, as a board, are presented with situations and screenshots that parents interpret to be, threats, and then I look at it, and because I have a teenager, I'm like, that's not a threat. Those are lyrics to a song, and I just think that yes, we want to ensure the safety of all of our students, but to what extent? The harm that was caused to the student today, I mean, that is something that this student will hold for a long time. Being taken in by law enforcement, confiscation of the phone, all of that occurs, her peers looking at this student as though they had committed a crime, all of that. And so I feel for you, because that's the reality right now, is that oftentimes it isn't what we assume to be. So I'm really sorry that you went through that. I also want to acknowledge the students and the parents who get up to speak, especially those that cry, because I'm going to tell you, when I used to stand at that podium addressing this board, I cried a lot, and I used to say, I think they keep onions over there, because I was always crying. But that's the passion and the concern that we have, and sometimes out of frustration, it just takes over. And so I don't ever want any student or parent to feel bad, because I think it's the podium that does that. So just keep speaking your mind. To our, regarding the situation at Chino Hills High School, there are difficult decisions that we make. I, for one, had been hearing about the concerns about bingo since last year. And one of our prior board members kept requesting the improvement plan, and then a couple of meetings later, she was asking for an update, and so it isn't something that is just occurring in 2019, so I want to clarify that. Is the fundraising invaluable? Absolutely. We're not questioning the value or the validity, and of course we appreciate the volunteers, countless hours. And I attended bingo before this whole situation because I was invited by a booster member, and I attended twice. Neither time I found a seat, and I did report back, because it does get crowded. You have an amazing turnout, and then I really don't know how to play bingo, so, but the fact is that, yes, it's well attended, and I think one of the days it was raining, and even then it was packed. And I reported back after attending the first bingo, and I said that there were a lot of seniors and how excited they were to be there and to be participating. So it's not as though I'm not familiar with how great of a program it is, but there are concerns. And I received several messages from parents on the other side of the issue. And what I would really encourage is, for those of you that are part of the boosters, that better communication needs to take place, especially when parents request or ask questions about the funding. And I'm not going to read all of the emails, and I'm not going to read all of the messages I received, but I am going to read just a part of one of the emails, because she indicates, when I've asked questions of the General Booster board members, they have been condescending and downright rude. And almost all of the emails and messages I received were to that nature and extent. So I'm just saying, there are two sides to everything, and then, as board members, we're kind of in the middle, just trying to figure out and just trying to stay focused on the audit results and the improvement plan, and that's all we're dealing with. But I'm just saying that it's important to bridge the gap between the parents on both sides of the spectrum on that campus, because all students deserve that. And so, and if it had just been one email, I would have said it's just maybe one disgruntled parent, but it wasn't just one, and there were several messages. So I'm just putting that out there. You do with it what you want. It's just a suggestion and a thought to take into consideration. And I want to close by addressing Mr. Montanez and our other teachers that are here from the Alternative Education Center. And you have a strong advocate here for the program. None of us ever think that our child will need that smaller setting, but I find myself having my son there now, partly doing virtual and partly attending Chino Hills High School now. So it's an amazing program, all of the programs that you offer there. I, as a board member, and I'm ashamed that I didn't know about the virtual academy and the possibilities of getting our students a quality education through that program. So they attend virtual academy, then they report to their neighborhood high school. They can split up the periods. They could do 3 and 3, 4 and 2, whatever it is that the student needs. And I think we need to promote that more. I mean, you're doing great, along with Dr. Carr, getting 470 students already, but I think the need is even greater than that, because I have friends with children in the district who have anxiety, who are struggling, who are ditching. Why are they ditching? They don't want to be on that large campus. Something is missing, and I think they would be perfect candidates for the virtual academy or any of the other programs that you offer there. So I want to thank you, and I want to acknowledge your plea that we advocate for that campus, and we are. So just keep that in mind. And with that, everyone have a good night, and for those that are off starting tomorrow, enjoy your spring break.
Dr. Enfield.
Yeah, I just want to clarify so everybody is clear regarding the boosters. So at the last board meeting, the board approved the bingo to go until April 1st. And so Sunday is March 31st, and then April 1st is was the motion that suspended at that time. But tonight, Mr. Schaefer asked for it to come back, so it will be coming back on April 4th for the board to make a decision on what they want to do on extending that, the bingo. So if it was approved at that case, then there would not be any need for a special board meeting, that it would come back and bingo could continue on the 7th as a possibility. So I don't think the board needs a special board meeting because, again, it will be coming back at April 4th. Thank you.
Okay, my comment. I'd like to ask Dr. Enfield, see if you could meet up with our parent there and listen to his concern. And if there's any possibility that we could provide the wish of those students or former student, I would support that. So please meet up with them. And would you do that, Mr. Enfield? Okay, yeah, he will do that. Okay, thank you. I talk about the feelings. When I walked into a bingo, Chino Hills High School, I felt the feelings. At this time, I'd like to have Kenny. I don't know your last name, I'm sorry, but Sherry told me how great person you were, dedicating all your life on that room to serve fellow seniors. So I'd like to have you stand up and let's give him a great applause. Thank you for your dedication and service. This is what we need. So when we look at people, we can look at millionaires and billionaires and all these hot stars and athletes, But we want to find somebody that I can say, when you grow up, you become like him or her. And that's you. So thank you, thank you. My feelings, when I walked in and then Don said, I'm the president, you're the president, let's talk between the president and president. I said, no, I serve one master, my president is different. And then she laughed. I'd just like to thank you. The lives are drama, but because of that, you shouldn't lose your health or sleep over that. Things will go on, and then righteous will stand. I believe personally, as one speaker said, it's a win-win situation. I really love children. Since I was little, I love animals and children, and it hasn't changed. So I know how much you guys benefit our kids. On that single day, you have donated $2,000 to the wrestling program. That was awesome. But I also, from my cultural background, we really respect elders and seniors. And you serve that population. And where would they go on that, I say, safe daytime? So I think you guys are providing a great venue for them, at the same time serving our students. So if you have 5 kids in a family, no one could agree. Yeah, that's true, everybody's different. But your hearts count. So I saw that heart. I felt it. And that's what that senior ladies has said. They feel kindness, being family, meeting friends. That's a great thing, great program. So thank you, and I'd like to have it even grown even stronger. There were some empty seats, which was great, maybe 5, 10 seats, and I was able to just all see that. And many times, people say, hey, there's a new restaurant. Oh, that's just such a great place. Well, you get this and that and at this price, but until you go there, you don't know. But I have gone through your invitation. So at this time, I'd like to say thank you for all of your hard work and loved your treasury report. That was a great, clear, just awesome. And sometimes when people don't know, they don't know. But when you do the right thing, you just continue on. And I'll be there for you. And as Dr. Enfield said, we'll bring this item back. So continue on. Thank you. And I'd like to talk about preserve now. Preserve. Yes, I see it as a roof leaking. And it's right. We do need to have a short-term solution, but we'll bring out parents, and we bring out all the stakeholders. And we'll have that discussion, and we'll come up with ideas. We're supposed to be over 18 years old, adults. And if we set every thoughts in well-being of our children, we'll find some solution. That is short-term, but long-term in a fast manner, so that kids don't have to cry or being in a fear. No, that's not cool. As an adult, we need to sacrifice for children. So I'd like to say that. And Mrs. Gagne was perfect today about talking about Don Lugo High School. Such a great school. And I'm so happy that she's visiting all these campuses. Because she observed the things that I have seen. Some in the meetings, somebody had said about some schools in Chino. And we need to have that pride back. I'd like to see Chino High School being rebuilt as Troy School, or better even, in San Bernardino County. And Don Lugo High School, we would have a strong, the PATH programs, and maybe college credit courses, and make it so good, so that when people say Don Lugo, they'll see on the map. When they say Chino High School, they'll see on the map. As our preserved parents, they wanted a preserved school. It's going to be like that. So let's continue to have hope and trust and work together. And lastly, I'd like to thank Yvette Foley, and I think she's not here, but she has done a great job at our choral festival, Jazz. It was a wonderful program, and I was kind of in tears, kind of, looking at Chino High School band. Oh my gosh. If they'll do anything, go buy the tickets and watch them. All our high school, they're an artist. I'll not go watch movies. I'll look at our high school students. So I'd like to thank all the music teachers and directors who are so dedicated. And this year, I felt, again, feeling matters, warmness from all these teachers. And I could say, maybe that's from our new leader at ACT leadership. So we're just blessed to have you guys all working us together. Thank you. Good night. I adjourn the meeting at 9:35.